was in the 70s. 71, 72 when I started there. 71 or 72, one of them.
When I first started working in Lowes's in 1958, all the sugar packing was all done by hand. So you used to have big blisters on your fingers, and you used to have put round sticky paper around it so your blisters don't burst and all of that.
You dig all the sugar up, and I think that's what people done my shoulders, all that digging.
We used to have a sick visitor go round people's houses
to
visit them if they was out sick.
We didn't have to go doctors because we used to do it all.
The dentist was just across the road.
Yes, yeah. Dentist was just across the road, yeah. We used to get hampers, didn't we, at Christmas, but they stopped all that after.
Everything stopped.
Yeah.
They had a wreck in Lowes's where they
had parties there.
And everything. And long service awards, so they shut that down. Then they got the institute over the Tate's, and they shut that down. So there's no other decent halls along here. And I had my 50th birthday party in there.
Yeah, we used to do our own rounds, didn't we?
Yeah, they used to make their own.
Make their own rounds. What was that? Molasses, wasn't it?
Molasses. That was syrup, like a syrup.
Like a syrup. That was really black.
Good for your chest.
Good for your chest, yeah. Molasses.
It had colds in it.
Yeah, that was really black, wasn't it? Down molasses. Yeah.
Our club used to be Tate Lyle's, and then they said, no, we're nothing to do
with it now. No. So we still go under Tate Lyle, but it's not Tate Lyle.
Now, there's no jobs. To actually get sacked, there's no jobs for no one. There used to be all factories and that round here. There's nothing there.
Nothing at all now. There's got a railway now. There's Crossrail, isn't it?
I never worked at Tate and Lyle's.
You didn't
I'm one
work
of the few members of my family who never worked there. My dad did, my uncle did, my cousin Pat was something very high up in HR, that old personnel is now HR, they call it down there. But I never worked at Tate's, but obviously being from the area, I mean, when I was born in Poplar, I moved to Canning Town when I was 6. I mean, Tate's were a major employee. There was very few families who didn't have a member who worked at Tate's. And you've got the Sugar Girls.
My father worked there for 48 years. Originally, he looked after the girls in what he called the sack, I think, where they used to take all the sacks with the sugar in and whatever and put it in there. And then I think he's had a few different runs. I mean, and when you're a youngster, you don't take that much notice. But when they amalgamated when they sort of made everybody redundant, my father had worked there nearly 50 years. And for them to give him the money to be made redundant wasn't heard of. He has worked hard and had different jobs in Tate and Lyle's. And he always said to me, don't you ever apply for a job in Tate and Lyle's. They kill them girls. It's too hard to work for girls. It's something I never ever did. And they put him in the office. So my dad did about 5 years in the office, bringing him up to 60 odd. And he said, oh, why didn't I get this job before? It's the best job I've had in my life. And what he used to do was walk round the whole of the factory about 3 or 4 times a day to take the electricity readings of how much electricity they were using.
One of my neighbours, they had children the same age as my children, and he was quite up in Tate Lyle's. I wish I could remember more about the family. But we used to go with him, me and Bob, when they had parties there, we would go. And I think I went to I don't know if they'd done weddings there. I think I went to a wedding.
If I'd hadn't been made redundant from the refined wolf, I probably would have. I feel as if I would have stayed, all my life. I'd have been a lifer. I know people now that are sort of like been there, getting on for 40 years, But the social side of it was fantastic. I mean, you had a working bar. Not that I used it a lot, but there was people that used the working bar inside. You know, I mean, it was open sort of like, I don't know, 12 hours a day. Like, you know, during the daytime, it was always open. Like, as far as I was, you know, I was concerned. You know, I loved my sport, especially cricket and football. I played for all Tate Lyle's in even when the Ferry Festival was about. Like, you know, I'd always represent Tate Lyle, whatever it may be, tug of war or bowls or darts and all that. Wasn't very good at them, but I like to think that I was half decent at the cricket and the football, which I played in the ones for the cricket team. I have to say, my friend Charlie Ullman, he was like the one-man star. I like to think that I sort of like chipped in a little bit, like, you know, but it was all about Charlie Ullman at that day. I mean, his dad worked down there now. He was a bit of a legend in the Tate Lyle team as well, like, you know. But Charlie would always get sort of like big scores. They all played for the first 11 on a Sunday, which again was good social life for your family and all your kids and all that. They all grew up over there, like, you know, youngsters and that. That's where we would spend all day on a Sunday. You know, the cricket would be you'd start at 11 o'clock and it would go on till sort of like 7, 8 o'clock at night. You know, you'd have sort of like you'd have your first session, and it'll go till sort of like 1 o'clock, and then you'd have lunch, and then round about 4 o'clock you'd have tea, and then you'd finish it off. And when you looked at the scoreboard, you think there's not many runs really scored there, but we made a day of it.
The firm had netball teams that went to other companies and cricket and football. They did all that, didn't they?
Yeah.
When you look back, I think there was an ink factory down the back of Chargeable Lane, and that was the beginning of where the West Ham, because it was an iron place as well, they called them the Irons, and that was just a firm's football
club.
The Victorian ladies used to have in their tea. Mm-hmm. It was very, very posh to have sugar cubes with your little silver sugar tongs. Mm-hmm. Don't just stick your hand in the bowl, throw a few inside.
Well, I think if you worked there, as I say, my father worked in the Lyle's end. Once a month, they were giving a tin of syrup. That was free. Everybody got a tin of syrup to take home. I don't know whether at Tate's they got a packet of sugar cubes.
Sugar.
My father was 56, and they offered him a job on the at Tate's, pulling the ropes for when the boats come in to get them sort of fixed in so they could unload the sugar. But my father had been very badly injured during the war, and he couldn't possibly do a job like that. So he went into the office, and they pulled out his, you know, where you've got everything. Oh, this is Mr. Mr. Sackman. And because my father had come from a family of many Sackmans that worked there, and they had the wrong Sackman.
It was a great place to work. Like, you know, as all the youngsters that didn't have qualifications, that was one of the main places to go into Tate's. I started off in the warehouse first of all. What you used to do was have the fault trucks, and there used to be like people giving you all different parts of sugar. So you loaded the talk liners up. They were lorries that sort of like went to different shops and whatever. Like, so you've done all that, and there was a progressive way into the system, like, you know, where we were. Like, qualifications without qualifications. So what we started off was, as I say, I started off into the warehouse. You even swept sugar off the floor and all that, and then I went on to truck driving, which I was the one that was supplying the sugar for the new people that come in to put onto the lorries. But then what we would do is, as the old people would retire, you would have functions over the institute just across the road.
Christmas outings, and first of all it was parties, and then when they brought in the ice. You remember you were skating on ice, and they started bringing the ice pantomimes in. Tate Lyle started taking the grown-up children to the ice shows, which was that I really enjoyed. Yeah.
Remember, a lot of people, that would have been their only holiday, was the Ferns Beano.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, their only real day out they would have had. So it was like Sunday best.
We went on them regularly, and mainly they were either Southend or Margate. And we went on one year, which was absolutely, I suppose it's the nearest thing I'll ever get to a cruise. We went from the Thames to, I don't know whether it was Margate or Southend, on a boat called the Royal Daffodil. We went right down
Daffodil and the Sovereign, yes.
Past all the factories, then past, I suppose, the places where people live now, Leigh-on-Sea and places like that, to get to Southend. And it was absolutely, out of this world. But I must admit, the bars were packed out with people that weren't even looking at the views at either side of the boat.
There's an old saying, it says 2 bottles of red port left in the cupboard. That's 2 blasts. Port is left. The port light is red. And that's 2 bottles of red port left in the cupboard is how to remember the coding for the boats.
Yeah.
Single blast, I'm going forward. 3 blasts, I'm going into reverse. What you don't want to hear is 7 blasts, because it means I am in difficulties or I am in danger. See, as a kid, I used to love that, because you especially sit on top of the bus and you sit there and watch this boat go past you. Should I say go past? So I used to love it. I mean, the people that were trying to get to work and the rest of it, they were not happy, but as a kid, I loved it.
Either at St Angela's School, very young. I think the Queen and Prince Philip had been on a tour on a boat. It must have been the Royal Britannia, but at the time you're just standing there waving your flags and cheering and thinking, oh, this is nice, got a day off from school. But they came right down the Thames, and each school were given a little, Tate Lyle's had probably a Silvertown school. I was in the was it a Royal Cake and something office, front, and each of the fronts had their school children in there to cheer the Queen, and it must have been Prince Philip, home from their tour.
Tate Lyle's, as far as I was concerned, was one of the best places to work. I worked in Royal Mail in the end for 32 years, so I got me 40-year pension in that way. But I think I would have preferred to have the 40 years in as Tate Lyle's. So that was my story. I mean, we were friends from sort of when I first moved to Silvertown, around about 8, we started to sort of play on a little football pitch around, which we made under the viaduct just past Tate Lyle's. So we'd played from the age of 8 to 9, and I spoke to him last week on the telephone, when this lockdown thing gets lifted, we're going to go and have a cup of tea or a beer or whatever,
Well, we went to we went to, I think it was Dorset with the club, and it was a tinsel and turkey. Wow. I don't know what I had to drink one night. It was they started singing, "Is this the way to Amarillo?" Well, I was up like a shot, all round the bar. All the men was off. And then when we sat down and we was ready to go home, the next day there was a group of fellas from, I mean, they were a lot younger than us. And they said, "Oh, you getting your coach tomorrow?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "We're over in the corner. You and that other one there, why don't you join us?" Oh dear, I thought was I said to them, "Oh, I don't think so." Then I put me shy hat on. I thought, "Oh, I can't talk to you." The reason we like it is none of it. We've all got our own little characters, and nobody says, "Oh, look at her showing us up," or something like that. We
Oh, I
always
don't care. I
join
don't
in with them,
care.
so that
Right.
if anybody's going to get told off, it'll be all of us.
All of us.
Not
Yeah.
just one. Yeah, it'll be all of us. Throw that lot out, not that girl. You know.
Yeah.
Bob used to have horse and cart, you know, his family were greengrocers. So he used to go and sell his strawberries on the back of his horse and cart to all the sugar girls as they come out and earn a fortune.